Have you ever felt invisible? Like you could scream at the top of your lungs in a crowded hallway and nobody would even flinch? That was Emma's entire life. In a school with over 1,000 kids, she was a complete ghost, the quiet girl you'd see but never really look at. It wasn't just that she was shy, it was like she was made of glass. And all she wanted, more than anything in the world, was for someone, just one person, to finally see her. But you know how the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for. Emma was about to find out that being seen can cost you everything. This is the story of how one wish took the girl nobody noticed and changed her world forever. Being Emma meant living your life in the background. You know, you hold a door open for someone and they just walk through without a word, like the door was floating on its own. She'd raise her hand in class, knowing the answer, but her voice would just disappear. The teacher would look right past her and ask the same question to someone else. It was more than just being lonely. It was like she was carrying this massive, invisible weight that pushed her down and made her blend in with the wallpaper. Then, one rainy afternoon, she's exploring her grandma's dusty old attic and finds this thing. Tucked away in an old chest is a hand mirror. It's beautiful, ornate, but the second she touches it, it's unnaturally cold. That night, sitting in her room with just her reflection looking back at her, she clutches the mirror and whispers the one thing her soul was screaming for. I just want to be noticed. The very next day at school, something shifted. A girl from her history class smiled at her. At lunch, a group of kids actually waved her over to their table. Emma felt this warmth spread through her chest, a feeling she hadn't had in forever. It was working. And then, the moment that made her heart stop, Liam, the guy she'd been crushing on for ages, walked right up to her desk. All he wanted was a pen, but he looked at her, and he smiled. A real smile. In that one perfect second, the world just fell away. Her wish had come true. She was finally being seen. Of course, a dream like that is never meant to last. The fantasy started to crack a few days later in English class. Her teacher, Mrs. Gable, held up an essay Emma wrote and told the whole class how brilliant it was. Emma felt her face flush with pride, but just as Mrs. Gable turned back to the board, she let out this blood-curdling scream and just collapsed, tripping over nothing at all. And the sound of her ankle snapping, it echoed in the dead silent room. A cold dread started to creep into Emma's stomach, but she shoved it away. It had to be a coincidence. Just a freak accident, right? A few days later, she was back on top of the world. Liam found her after school, told her she had a beautiful laugh, and asked her out for Friday night. Emma was practically floating home. This was it. Everything she had ever wanted was finally happening. But on Friday, while she was getting ready, her phone rang. It wasn't Liam, it was a paramedic. Liam had been in a hit and run just a block from his house. He was alive, but both of his legs were shattered. And that's when it all clicked into place. A sickening, horrifying pattern. Mrs. Gable praises her work, a broken ankle. Liam asks her out, broken legs. The attention wasn't a gift, it was a curse. Every time someone truly saw her, the world seemed to violently lash out and break them. Her wish hadn't made her visible, it had turned her into a human black cat, a walking disaster zone. The dream she'd fought so hard for had twisted into a nightmare. And all she could do was squat down, put both her arms over her face, and stare at the ground, praying she could disappear all over again. The ultimate test came about a week later, a crackle over the school intercom, and then the principal's voice announcing that Emma had won the school's highest academic honor. She would have to go on stage, during an assembly, in front of everyone. 1,000 students, 1,000 pairs of eyes were all staring right at her. Her blood ran cold. What would that much attention do? Would the stage collapse? Would a fire break out? How many people would she hurt, all because they looked at her? She couldn't do it. She wouldn't. That night, she tore through the attic and found the mirror. Tears were streaming down her face as she stared at her own reflection, her voice cracking as she begged. Please, take it back. Take it all back. I don't want this anymore. I wish I was forgotten. The mirror became so cold it almost burned her hands, and a thick fog swirled across its surface before vanishing completely. Morning arrived, school felt too normal, Gable walked fine, and then she saw him. Liam. He was laughing with his friends, standing tall on two healthy legs. An incredible wave of relief washed over her, but it only lasted a second, because he looked in her direction, and his eyes slid right past her like she was just empty air. No one saw her. She was a ghost again. In a full-blown panic, she sprinted to the library, grabbed a yearbook, and frantically flipped to her class picture. And there, in the spot where her face should have been, there was nothing. Just a gap, an empty space. The mirror hadn't just made her invisible again. It had erased her. It fixed all the damage by wiping her from reality itself. She had saved everyone, but in doing so, she became more alone than she ever dreamed possible. In the end, Emma learned the cruelest lesson of all, that sometimes the one thing you want most in the world is the one thing that will destroy you. So, did this story give you chills? We really want to know. And it makes you wonder, if you found that mirror and you had one wish, what would you be willing to risk? Tell us in the comments below. Share this story to spread the lesson learnt, and subscribe for more stories that'll flip what you thought you knew.